Here's what $14 billion buys you. It buys you the title of Singapore's richest man. It buys you honorary doctorates from two of Taiwan's most prestigious universities. It buys you industry awards, front row seats at global tech conferences, and a reputation as one of Asia's greatest business minds. And apparently, it buys you a way out of a 6-year prison sentence. This is the story of Jason Chang, and it starts not with semiconductors, but with stolen identities, forged documents, and a mother and son operation that a court of law called criminal. The man the world celebrates today was, in the year 2000, a convicted fraudster. Let that sit for a moment. To understand Jason Chang, you need to understand where his money actually came from. Before ASE, before the billions, before the Forbes list, before the honorary degrees and the industry galas. There was Hung Ching Development, a construction company founded by his mother, Chang Yao Hung Ying, in Taiwan during the booming 1980s. Jason became its president. His mother, already in her 70s by the time this story unfolds, remained its chief executive. A family operation, tightly controlled, answerable to no one outside the household. No outside shareholders breathing down their necks. No independent board asking uncomfortable questions. Just a mother and her son running the show. Between 1989 and 1992, prosecutors alleged that this mother and son pair ran a financial scheme inside their own company that was, frankly, brazen. They took land transactions worth up to 1.93 billion new Taiwan dollars, that is nearly 60 million US dollars, and quietly funneled them through the personal bank accounts of ordinary Hung Ching employees. Workers who showed up every day, did their jobs, went home to their families. People who had absolutely no idea their names and their accounts were being used to move tens of millions of dollars around. No consent, no knowledge, no share of the money. Their identities were tools, nothing more. Human beings reduced to financial instruments by the very bosses they worked for. And it did not stop there. Prosecutors said Jason and his mother then used forged documents to embezzle 186 million new Taiwan dollars, 5.7 million US dollars, directly out of Hung Ching itself. The money was shuttled between bank accounts in Taiwan and Hong Kong, deliberately layered to bury the trail and make it harder to follow. Then came the most audacious move of all. They borrowed 1.15 billion new Taiwan dollars from Citigroup, in Hung Ching's name, using the company as collateral, to purchase a large piece of land. Then Jason, wearing his other hat as head of ASE, sold 17% of that same land back to Hung Ching at roughly half the original purchase price. The company effectively bought its own land back at a massive loss. The difference in value? Pocketed. Think about the architecture of that move. You borrow money in your company's name. You buy land. You sell that land back to your own company at a discount. The company loses. You win. And the workers whose names you use to make it all happen never see a single dollar. This was not impulsive. This was not opportunistic. This was planned, layered, and executed methodically over 3 years. Here is the part that should make you genuinely uncomfortable. In 1984, while all of this was still being constructed, Jason persuaded his mother to invest Hung Ching's profits into a completely different industry: semiconductors. Together with his brother Richard, they founded Advanced Semiconductor Engineering, ASE. The timing matters enormously. The capital that seeded ASE came from the same family pot, the same company, and the same years as the alleged fraud. Whether the money streams were directly connected is something the courts would eventually have to determine. But the origin story of one of Asia's most powerful technology companies runs directly through the same family, the same bank accounts, and the same 3-year window as the scheme prosecutors described. ASE found its lane fast. Taiwan was becoming the backbone of the global chip supply chain, and ASE carved out a specific niche: Not designing chips, but packaging and testing them. The unglamorous, invisible, absolutely essential final step before a semiconductor goes into any product. Your phone, your laptop, the AI servers processing everything right now. ASE's fingerprints are on all of it. By the late 1990s, ASE was expanding aggressively across Asia. Factories in Taiwan, Korea, Malaysia, the United States. Clients that included the biggest names in global technology. By 2000, it was the world's second-largest semiconductor packaging company, with billions in annual revenue and tens of thousands of employees worldwide. Jason Chang was celebrated, powerful, photographed at industry events, quoted in business magazines. The self-made titan of Taiwan's tech miracle. The past, it seemed, had been successfully buried. Until December 2000. The Taipei District Court delivered its verdict, clearly and without ambiguity. Guilty. Jason Chang, chairman of one of Asia's most strategically important technology companies, was sentenced to 6 years in prison. His mother, Chong Yao Hung Ying, received the same sentence. Both convicted, both sentenced. Both facing prison time for what the court determined was a deliberate, multi-year financial fraud against their own employees and their own company. The market reacted the same day. ASE's share price fell 3.2% on the Taiwan Stock Exchange. Investors were rattled. International financial press picked up the story, but the company itself? Remarkably calm. ASE released a statement saying the conviction would have absolutely no impact on its operations. No emergency board meeting, no calls for resignation from shareholders, no public reckoning with what had just been established in a court of law about the man running the company. No accountability whatsoever. Just 2 words effectively. We appeal. Part 4. And then, nothing. This is where the story becomes very Southeast Asian. The appeal was filed, the case disappeared into Taiwan's higher court system, a process that can grind on for years, sometimes an entire decade, with little public visibility. International media moved on to the next story. The conviction quietly stopped appearing in profiles of Jason Chang. Business journalists writing about ASE's growth and expansion made no mention of it. Awards committees apparently did not consider it relevant. The story simply ceased to exist in the public conversation. Today, Jason Chang chairs ASE Technology Holding. He holds Singaporean citizenship and maintains his primary residence in Taipei. He has honorary doctorates from National Sun Yat-sen University, awarded in 2018, and National Chang Kung University, awarded in 2022. In 2015, SEMI, the global semiconductor industry body, presented him with an award recognizing his significant contributions to the field. He is photographed smiling at podiums. He is quoted on the future of AI and advanced packaging technology. He is worth, as of this year, $14 billion. There is no public record of Jason Chang ever spending a single night behind bars. Not one. Maybe the appeal succeeded on legitimate legal grounds. Maybe new evidence emerged. Maybe the conviction was overturned entirely and the court system worked exactly as it should. Taiwanese court records are not always accessible to the international public, and the full legal truth may be more layered than what is visible from outside. We acknowledge that possibility. But here is what cannot be unseen, regardless of how the appeal concluded. Ordinary workers had their identities used without their knowledge or consent to move nearly $60 million through financial transactions they knew nothing about. A court found that criminal. A judge sentenced the man responsible to 6 years in prison. And that same man is today worth $14 billion. Celebrated, decorated, and treated as a pillar of the global technology industry. The workers whose names were borrowed? We do not know their names. We do not know what happened to them. History did not find them interesting enough to record. If you are watching this from Malaysia, Indonesia, the Philippines, Thailand, or anywhere across Southeast Asia, you know this feeling in your bones. The slow, heavy, familiar feeling that justice in this part of the world has a price tag attached to it. That the scales tip differently when the person on one side of them can afford the right lawyers, the right appeals, and the right amount of patience. Drop a comment below. Tell us if this story surprises you. We already know the answer. Because in Southeast Asia, we have been watching this movie our entire lives. Only the names and the numbers change.